Yes, it's time for another album ranking, and today we're diving into the full discography of Amiensus, one of the most exciting and underrated bands out there, blending black metal with progressive elements, post-black metal melodies, and a whole lot of atmosphere. Across 5 full-length albums, they've carved out a unique sound, sometimes crushing, sometimes beautiful, sometimes experimental, but always ambitious. And this is what makes this ranking quite tricky, because even their weakest record still has something worth talking about. So here's how I'm gonna do it, like every other fucking ranking. I'll go through each album from what I think is the weakest to what I think is their very best, breaking down the songs, the atmosphere, and even the production, the vocals, all of it. Of course, this is just my opinion. I'd love to hear your rankings down in the comments below, and let's begin. So, coming last is Reclamation Part 2. It's a good record, but to me, it's the weakest Amiensus album. After how massive Part 1 felt, this one comes across shorter and a bit less consistent. It's got some real intensity in spots, but it doesn't quite hold up to the rest of the discography in my opinion. There are some excellent highlights though. Amiensus is pure blackened fury, relentless, venomous, one of the heaviest songs Amiensus have ever written. Then you've got songs like Sofario, which feels much brighter, almost in the vein of Ascension. It's got this uplifting edge which works musically, but it doesn't always match the darker mood that defines this band at their best. Now the prog elements are there too, and they work well in places. Like the clean vocals are pretty fucking strong. The instrumentation stretches into more progressive territory, and you can tell they were trying to keep things fresh. Am I filming? I think, yeah, we're filming. I thought I wasn't filming then. Now the standout in that department is The Distance. The song The Distance. It's featuring none other than Lars Nedland from Borknagar. His vocals add a whole new dimension to the track. It's epic, atmospheric, and easily one of the strongest moments on the album. But here's the thing, here's the real big thing. Even with these highlights, Part 2 still feels more like an extension than a complete statement. Released just a few months after Part 1 in 2024, which was last year, it never shakes the feeling that both halves should have been combined into one massive album called Reclamation, in my opinion. Together, they might have been unstoppable. Could have been one of the best black metal albums of the year, but split in two, Part 1 clearly, in my opinion, overshadows Part 2. So yeah, Reclamation Part 2 has epic moments, great features, and some intense songs, but overall, to me, it's the weakest Amiensus full length, in my opinion. So still, even at their lowest point, this band still delivers some great fucking black metal, great music that stands above a lot of what's out there, and that says something. Next up is Ascension. Now this is an interesting one for me because while it's definitely a good album, I'd call it the second weakest in their discography. Now it feels brighter compared to Restoration, almost too bright at times for a band that thrives in darker territory. Now the production here is a big step. It's a lot cleaner, sharper, more polished than the debut. They also push the experimentation further with keyboards, synths and orchestration sprinkled throughout, giving the record more of like a progressive edge. Songs like On These Deserted Plains kick off with a real progressive flair, immediately showing that shift in tone, and Toward Horizon carries that momentum. Then you get What Words Create, which is a bit of a strange song, not bad, just unusual in how it's all structured. One in Spirit is softer, more melodic, but it builds beautifully as it goes. The black metal side of Amiensus is still here, but it's used sparingly. Divine Potion of Acumen is one of the tracks where they really showcase their blackened roots, and Time Is Growing Old is another highlight. It starts out soft, full of beautiful melodies before evolving into a black metal monster, easily one of the most dynamic cuts on the album. Now, What Evil Lay Dormant is probably the darkest moment on the record, with eerie melodies and an unforgettable outro that really leaves its mark. But here's the thing. As much as I appreciate the experimentation, a lot of the album just sounds way too bright, especially for this kind of music. It's adventurous, it's ambitious, but it doesn't always hit as hard emotionally as their other releases. So yeah, Ascension is still a good album. It's got standout tracks, great production, plenty of experimentation, but for me, it's the second weakest, more of a stepping stone album where they are figuring things out before really nailing their sound on what came next. Amiensus came out swinging with their debut, Restoration, and honestly, it's an awesome start to their discography. Right from the gate, they're blending black metal with progressive flourishes and post-black metal atmosphere. It's ambitious, it's layered, and it showed straight away they weren't gonna be just another cookie-cutter black metal band. Now, the guitar work on this record really stands out. There's this constant fucking tension in the riffs. Instead of just blasting you with speed, they build and release, letting those eerie melodies creep in before hitting you hard. The leads are very fucking tasteful on this. The solos cut through the mix beautifully, and even the softer passages feel deliberate, not just filler. You can tell they put a lot of thought into how each part actually connects. Vocally, it's a strong blend. The harsh blackened shrieks are full of raw energy, but they balance them with cleans that don't feel forced. They actually fit the atmosphere. That mix of light and dark is something they'd keep refining later, but it's already quite compelling here. Standout tracks for me is Become the Fears, a stunner. The way it starts off acoustic and calm, then grows into this heavy and immersive wave, shows exactly what Amiensus are capable of dynamically. Millennium with Ken Sorcerin. Yes, Ken Sorcerin from Abigail Williams is another highlight. Those eerie melodies paired with Ken's vocals give it this haunting quality, and the chemistry between them really works. Then you've got Deeper Than Blood and Thanatos, where the experimentation kicks in more. They play with like structure on this, they add in progressive twists, and you can see them trying to stretch beyond black metal. But here's the thing, to me, Restoration feels more like a preview of what this band were capable of rather than the full picture. They experimented, but they didn't push any boundaries all the way. They took risks, but they weren't big enough yet to really set themselves apart. So it's a really solid debut. You get harsh blackened shrieks, soaring cleans, beautiful guitar licks and solos, and a clear sense of ambition. It may not be their most boundary-pushing release, but it's an important foundation in their discography. You can hear the ideas forming here that they'd later take much further, and that makes Restoration both a great standalone album and a fascinating first chapter in their story. Reclamation Part 1 feels like the natural successor to Abreaction. It nails what the album did so well: the black metal dissonance, the haunting atmosphere, the beautiful post melodies, but sharpens it and gives it a bigger scope. But it's not the best album in Amiensus' discography. Right from the opener, blink of the moment, you can tell they've taken things up a notch. It's an immediate mix of brutality and melody, a real storm of sounds that pulls you straight into the record. Tracks like Reverie lean heavily into atmosphere with synths, orchestration, cleans that feel absolutely haunting, while Sun and Moon is one of the most powerful things Amiensus have ever written. Nearly 9 minutes of emotional weight, starting soft and almost innocent before twisting darker and really fucking darker. Now the second half keeps that intensity alive. You got Vermilion, Fog of War, and Spoken into Will show how far the band can push themselves dynamically, moving from, like, dare I say, folk-tinged melodies into all-out blackened chaos without ever breaking sweat or flow. Every song feels carefully crafted to carry its own atmosphere, yet they all tie together as one long, cohesive journey. Now, the vocals are spot on, gutturals that feel punishing, high shrieks that cut like glass, and soaring cleans that give the album real emotional lift. James Benson sounds completely in control here. He's the vocalist, shifting seamlessly between extremes, and it makes the whole record hit on every level. Now, the production-wise, it is fucking a massive, layered, detailed, but still crashing when it needs to be. Every guitar line, every synth, every vocal is given room, but it still hits you with weight when the heavy parts drop. I wouldn't say Reclamation Part 1 is their absolute best. The next album I'll talk about is my favorite, but because of how flawless it feels, some of the songs here hit harder than anything Amiensus have ever done. It's an album that proves they weren't slowing down or running out of ideas even after hitting such a high point. And it's worth saying 2024, when this record dropped, was an incredible year for metal. And it's worth saying 2024, when this record dropped, which was last year, was an incredible year for metal. And even like bands were pushing themselves in new directions and really changing its sound. And it reminded me a lot of 2020, which I'd also put up there as one of the best years in metal history during the pandemic. Both years gave us albums that weren't afraid to step outside the box and challenge what heavy music could sound like. And Reclamation Part 1 was right there in that wave. For me, this album is dynamic, emotional, atmospheric, and absolutely devastating when it wants to be. It's Amiensus building on what they'd already perfected, proving they could evolve their sound while keeping everything that makes them great. And now my favorite album is none other Abreaction. What an album! To me, this is Amiensus fully locked in, a record where everything finally clicks. Front to back, every track feels essential. I'm pretty sure this was released in 2017 or 18, and it flows like one long journey rather than just a collection of songs. It kicks off with Beneath the Waves, starting almost bright and post-rock in tone before it plunges you into darker, blackened territory. That shift sets the mood for the whole record. This constant shift and pull between beauty and despair, divinity and to the edge of life bring that sharpness and aggression while still being drenched in a melody. A convocation of spirits, euphorica, a haunting and layered songs that breathe atmosphere and make you feel uneasy in the best way. Then you've got songs like Drowned and Cold Viscera, which just smother you, slow, crushing, suffocating tracks that drag you into their world. All that is unknown keeps that melodic hook-driven side alive, while Iconoclasm towers over the record, a black death doom hybrid that feels like a defining statement for Amiensus. And that closer, the acoustic version of A Convocation of Spirits, it's really fucking chilling. It's like a ghostly epilogue after a storm, a reminder that this album wasn't just about heaviness, but to me, it was about emotion too. Now, the production is spot on. It's heavy, meaner, and sharper than anything they've done before, but it's still clear and dynamic. You hear every instrument, every texture. The guitars don't just riff, they paint. 1 minute, they're tearing with blackened venom. The next, they're shimmering with beautiful melodies, beautiful picking. And in between, they build all this tension that keeps you hooked. Vocally, James Benson, again, absolutely nails it. His shrieks have bite, his deeper growls add heft, and his clean soar with conviction. It's not just technical skill, it's the emotion in his delivery that makes the songs hit as hard as they do. He knows exactly when to push and when to pull back, which keeps a record balanced between that raw intensity and genuine beauty. What makes this album Abreaction so special is how cohesive it is. You can hear the ambition of restoration finally realized and the experimentation of ascension sharpened into something truly powerful. There's no filler here. No throwaway ideas, all fucking killer. Every song matters and every song feels like it belongs to a bigger picture. This is a record where Amiensus truly captured their sound. It's a perfect balance of blackened ferocity, progressive nature and experimentation and emotional atmosphere. This album, Abreaction, isn't just one of Amiensus' best records, it's a fucking masterpiece. Heavy, emotional, beautifully written, and completely unforgettable. So, that's my ranking of every Amiensus full-length album from weakest to best for me. It goes to Reclamation Part 2, Ascension, Restoration, Reclamation Part 1, at its very top, the masterpiece, Abreaction. Even at their weakest, Amiensus are a band that always brings something worth hearing, whether it's the guttural heaviness, the soaring cleans, the eerie atmospheres, or those beautiful guitar melodies. They've carved out their own space in blackened prog and post-metal, and it's been awesome watching how they've grown across these records. But of course, that's just my opinion. What about you? Drop your own Amiensus rankings down in the comments. I know some of you will disagree, and that's the fun of it. So until next time, it's been fun, and I'll see you in the next one.